Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're getting into something that's, well, it's really personal for a lot of families. We're talking about what happens when a child's ADHD diagnosis creates a tough situation, a real rift between parents and grandparents. It's a space that's full of love, for sure, but also a ton of frustration. We're going to explore how to get from that conflict back to connection. This quote from a mom on Reddit, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's that deep in your bones exhaustion that so many parents of neurodivergent kids feel. You know, that sense that you're not just raising your child, you're also constantly trying to justify your choices to your own parents.
If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. So why does this happen? How in the world does a diagnosis, something that's supposed to help a child, end up feeling like a battleground for the entire family? That's the big question we're really digging into today. Okay, so first up, let's break down this family divide and get to the root of the fundamental misunderstanding that's usually going on.
This right here, this is where the conflict really starts. You've got two generations looking at the exact same child, but they are seeing two completely different things. On one side, the parent sees themselves as an advocate, helping their child's brain and teaching them skills for life. But on the other side, the grandparent might see that same exact behavior as making excuses, letting the child use a crutch, or just not being strict enough. It's like they're speaking two totally different languages.
And this disconnect, it can lead to some incredibly painful moments. In one story, a grandmother actually accused her 6-year-old granddaughter of being manipulative. What the mother saw as a real struggle with ADHD, the grandmother saw as a flaw in her character.
Here's the thing, this is so crucial to understand. What looked like getting emotional on purpose is actually a core symptom of ADHD. It's called emotional dysregulation. It is not a choice. It's what happens when the brain is literally flooded by emotion, and it just overwhelms the ability to think clearly or see consequences. It's a neurological reality, not a behavioral one.
So, let's move into section 2, ADHD beyond the stereotype. A huge part of this generational clash comes from a really outdated picture of what ADHD looks like, especially when we talk about girls.
For decades, when you said ADHD, everyone pictured that classic little boy, bouncing off the walls. But for girls, the reality is often the total opposite. They're much more likely to be inattentive, seen as space cadets or daydreamers. Their symptoms can get way worse with hormonal changes during puberty. And instead of acting out and blaming others, they turn it all inward, as anxiety and shame.
The signs are there, but man are they subtle and easy to misinterpret. A girl might be hyper-talkative, not hyperactive. She might fidget with her hair or nails instead of getting out of her seat. And this one is huge. She might spend enormous amounts of energy just to put up a facade of competence, trying to seem normal, all while inside she feels like she's failing and stupid.
Just think about the weight of that for a second. According to Dr. Patricia Quinn, by age 8, these girls already know they're different. They feel like they can't keep up, and that quiet internal struggle takes a huge emotional toll, long before anyone else figures out what's really going on.
And that toll has some really serious consequences. You see this number, 40%? By the time they're teenagers, 40% of girls with combined type ADHD have actually outgrown their hyperactivity. Yet, and this is the heartbreaking part, they still face significantly higher rates of self-harm. Why? Because of the cumulative damage of all those years struggling. The damage was already done.
But this is where the story pivots. Section 3 is all about the grandparent superpower. Because grandparents, who might feel like they're part of the problem, are actually in a unique position to be the solution. It all starts right here. Kids with ADHD and their parents face constant judgment from school, from friends, from everywhere. In that world, a grandparent who can just offer non-judgmental support, well, they aren't just helpful. As one expert put it, they are an enormous blessing.
And you know what the best part is? You don't have to become an ADHD expert overnight. Your most powerful tools, your real superpowers, are qualities you already have in spades: patience and compassion. That's it. That's the good stuff.
I mean, just think about your unique position of strength, right? You're free from that daily grind of homework battles and bedtime routines. That means you can be a calm harbor in the storm. You can be the one person who isn't focused on their shortcomings, but who can see and celebrate their passions and what makes them amazing.
So, Section 4, your emotional support toolkit. How do you actually put this into practice? Let's open it up and look at some practical steps you can literally start taking today.
Okay, here's a 5-step plan. Number 1, learn about the treatment plan and just back the parents up. Follow their lead on things like discipline. 2, praise the effort, not just the result, even when they fail. 3, offer a break. This is a huge one. Take your grandchild out for a bit and give the parents some much-needed relief. 4, when you see anger or frustration, meet it with empathy, not more anger. That's how you open up a conversation. And finally, number 5, and maybe the most important, banish criticism. Just make loving acceptance your default setting.
You know, a simple little shift in language can change absolutely everything. Instead of saying, "You're just being manipulative," what if you tried asking, "Tell me how you're feeling?" Instead of, "You need to try harder," maybe, "This seems really tough. How can I help?" This isn't about you fixing the problem. It's about opening a door to connection.
And for our final section, connecting through shared activities. Because sometimes the most powerful support isn't about talking at all. It's just about spending quality time together and building that bond. And remember, the goal here isn't to win the board game or paint a masterpiece. It's all about the shared experience. It doesn't matter if you're cooking or walking or just telling stories. The real gift you're giving is your undivided, loving attention. That is the stuff that builds the resilience they so desperately need. I just love this quote from a grandparent in a survey. It really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's a perfect reminder that what you might lack in physical energy now, you more than make up for in patience and perspective. 2 things that parents, who are right in the thick of it, often need the most. So we'll leave you with this one final thought to chew on. In a world that is constantly telling your grandchild to change, to try harder, to be different, what if the most powerful, the most transformative gift you can give them isn't more advice, but simply your unconditional, loving acceptance?